Hey, what's up, guys? It is Rapmark here. So, doing my review for episode 7 of Andor. So, I know this was supposed to have been done a few days ago, but Halloween weekend came up and I knew it was going to throw this week's schedule off. Nonetheless, I still have episode 7 and episode 8 to do. So, right now we're doing episode 7. Um, so where do I think it's going from here? I am loving the direction it's going. It's after that huge, payoff in episode 6, we now come to a breather episode, which again I don't mind. It's a slower pace, but at the same time, everyone acts very real to life in this. This again feels like an actual fleshed out story with fleshed out characters, just total layers. I mean, some of the best ones were the conversation that Mon Mothma had with her friend Kolma, essentially wandering around a party while at the same time telling him like figuring out if she can trust him, and then he's trying to get out what she's trying to say, and she needs to say it but without saying it. It's kind of fun. You got all these smiles and look this way and pretend we're talking about something else. It really is intriguing. And then they have another one with another interaction with Miro and Belvin again. So the two Imperial officers at the ISB, um, and Belvin like finally just challenges her in the middle of this meeting that she's been breaking protocol and accessing data from what is supposed to be a system of his, you know, and the original head of that department or area or that whatever. Um, at first like the first time they went in at it, he sided with Belvin because he had more experience, and she didn't really have the proof. Whereas this time, she did her research. She found the proof, found everything to back it up, and so not only did he support her, but he ended up taking um, oversight of Ferrex from Belvin to Miro, because as he said, it has now become more of a distraction than his responsibility. And just some of the things she said, it's just like very well played. Like, because again, she's, he at some point asks her, whether or not she believes his protocols are irrelevant, and she responds, a system either changes or it dies, and that's really really good, right? Because I mean, again, in real life, like if you believe strongly about something, you have to convey it without being rude, and she didn't say yes or no. Like, she said yes, but she did so without actually saying yes, and she brings a good point. A system does have to change. People get around firewalls, they get around, they find loopholes in things. So yeah, she pretty much saw out this whole rebellion starting, and no one listened to her, because of protocol. And now that she actually had proof, um, his earlier comment is just like, that's why we're trying to get more people like you into the ISB, because you actually get stuff done, rather than just, focus on going by the book, which most of the people there are. Now, again, I can understand if people think it's kind of a slower thing, and this is kind of a sort of standalone. This is the aftermath. You know, it's not done by any of the Gilroys. It's done by Stephen Skiff. So new person, but again, the writing was so just, I absolutely loved it. Um, and it literally is just dealing with the aftermath. I mean, the Empire has given the ISB almost full, pretty much full impunity um, to do whatever. You know, things are just passed in the Senate, uh, giving them this power, and yeah, I mean, at the end of that whole thing, he pretty much is just like, well played. Watch your back, because now, yeah, she has a target on her back, and how that'll play out, we'll see. All right, and then you have Luthen. That was another great conversation. Of just like complete just reacting like because he's talking to Mon Mothma. You know, she's facing away from the doors are soundproof. She's facing away from the driver, and he's while he's facing the driver and talking to her, he's animated, he's smiling, pretending that they're talking about looking for another piece. Um, and on his back, he's very serious. I mean, she's having her doubts, just like people will be hurt, they will clamp down, and he pretty much essentially tells her, that's the point, while at the same time putting on this sort of show for the driver outside. Um, but yeah, like I absolutely loved the whole intrigue, the way it was played. Like the dialogue for this episode was just so amazing, in my opinion. And then you see like how gray everything is, because I mean, you have Luthen's assistant, Clea. Um, she meets with Vel on Coruscant. Job well done, and she essentially says, "Go and kill Cassian." In spite of what he did, and you know, again, like she wants to do it to protect Luthen's identity, but at the same time, it is kind of messed up, but that's like when you're in a war or you're in a rebellion, something like that, insurgency. Yeah, you're gonna have to make hard choices because there are no like good answers. There are situations where you will go into and there are no good answers. There's just less crappy answers, less more pragmatic answers, I guess would be a neutral way of saying it. And it's hard, you know. So anyway, so going on from that, we also go to, let's see. Oh yeah, Cassian goes back to Ferrix to essentially he has all these credits. He's going to repay all of his debts. Then he does. Bix essentially he finds from Bix that the community blames him uh, for everything that happened, and there is a flashback of like when there's stormtroopers on Ferrix now, about where his father was his adopted father, and it is pointed out that he is Marva's husband. So yeah, so his adopted father was murdered by Imperial clone troopers. So those were clone troopers. I'd need to watch it again to check to make sure. I thought they were just stormtroopers, but I guess no, they're Imperial clone troopers. All right. So yeah, and he tries to get Marva to go with him. He sort of cuts his ties with Clem. They wish each other well. or not with Clem, with Bix, Marva decides no. It's just like, and I get it. Like it's just like she's old. She may only have a few years left. Whatever. Uh, and she wants to at this point join with the rebels and take a side. Because why not? Why not go out? Doing something that you feel matters. And he still hasn't taken a side at this point. He just sort of wants to run away, live a normal life, and he does. And he tries. He goes to uh, Niamos. So it's a put here is a tropical tourist paradise, and he's with this new girl. I don't know if it's someone he's with the night or the new girlfriend or whatever. But anyway, he goes to the shop. There's a bunch of youths running who are shouting anti-imperial stuff, uh, and chased by stormtroopers. And as he goes to go into the store, stormtrooper, just like, what are you doing? You're looking kind of suspicious. And he's just like, yeah, he is. He's like looking around. Yeah, he looks a little bit shady in spite of him trying to be normal. But yeah, and he essentially gets arrested. Like the guard goes to catch ones and has a KX unit just like hang on to him, and literally it's just like he grabs him by the neck and just holds him up. He's just hang on to it, and he's just like, I'm just going to the store. And then he goes into the essentially to get processed. There's a jailer, and all she's doing is just stamping. Like it's just like there is no trial to see if you're guilty or innocent. It is just literally like, you are guilty. Here's your sentence. And she points out that it used to be a 6-month sentence, what he was doing, and now it is a 6-year sentence. And he's just like, I didn't do anything. I didn't do it. Like, so this episode, in my opinion, is like, the aftermath of the heist, and then sort of the start of him realizing that he can't hide. He has to choose a side at some point. So I believe this is the start of that. And then, we also have Cyril Karn. He starts a new job at the Bureau of Standards, and it looks like a super boring job. Essentially, he's sitting in a cubicle. There's an overseer or a supervisor just going from cuticle to cuticle, making sure people are doing their jobs, and he is in charge of fuel purity. So, man, and he just seems to accept it. Like, before he takes the job, he's just like, he wants to clear his name. When he brings up that he was part of, what the heck is that called? Primor. And that whole circumstance, and the person who hires him essentially just says, we can edit that out, and yeah, this is your job now. And you wonder where it's going to go, because this is like, he is not having a good run of it. He has an overbearing mother. you know he failed at his security job, and now he has his uncle get him a job at the Department of, what is it, Bureau of Standards. And man, so like I said, I absolutely enjoy this series and where it's gone so far. I feel sad that it's not getting the traction as other things are. And, from a lot of my friends, they say that they are going to wait until it's all out and then binge watch it. And to be honest, that might be the best way to watch this. Because, I mean, I've said this before. The sort of way this series is set up, it doesn't really benefit the show itself to have just a serial one episode a week when you have all these storylines and arcs that sort of trail into other episodes and episodes not having really resolutions, but building up to a larger payoff at like the edge of episode three, like the first two. This one was just a standalone. I don't see anything else that Adam Schiff is going on. But then episode 8 starts another 3 episode, I'm assuming, arc from Beau Willimon. And then Tony Gilroy will take the last 2 episodes in a 2-part arc, which I imagine will be, the whole big thing that we'll just see. And then season 2. So I hope they are still making season 2 because, apparently the watch numbers aren't great. They're not terrible. It is still, for an average, in terms of average shows, it is still ranking pretty high. But yeah, in terms of other Disney Plus stuff, it's not doing as well. And I mean, I can kind of get it. I mean, most people are used to like the exciting, explosions, stuff like that, things happening quickly. But I mean, people like me, I guess, maybe I'm just too old to relate to that. It's just like I want good writing, I want good dialogue, I want good character development. I don't mind if something is slow as long as I get a payoff that's worth it in the end. And so far, I've gotten that from this show. So, I mean, it's one of those things where I can kind of get it because that's where it's going, especially with young people. And that's a generalization, but you know what I mean. Whereas me, it's just like I want a good story. I don't want just to be distracted by explosions on a screen or everyone being loud and over the top and cartoonish. I this is a show I've been wanting from Disney for a long time because, and I mentioned this, I did the Andor trailer reaction. I was just like, I don't know, it looks interesting, but it's just like, what's all this about Andor? Who cares about Andor? When you have Boba Fett, Mandalorian, Obi-Wan. And the thing is, and it sucked. I if I didn't run a review channel, I probably would have, left this on the wayside and just wait until someone told me to watch it. And it sucks because this is one of the greatest, again, Disney shows I've seen in a long time. So what am I gonna give this one? I'm giving this a 9 as well because again, even though it was slower paced, like everything was on point. Everyone's acting their ass off. The situation seemed very real. The universe just seems so real. Like, and the dialogue was just so amazing. I absolutely loved it. So yeah, 9 out of 10 for this. I look forward to the next episode, which I'll be doing soon. So I'll see you then. But I hope you guys have a good one. I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.